Well, happy Monday, everybody. Wow, what a great weekend. I'll talk a little bit about that after a while. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you're listening to the Dr. Laurie Davis Show, streaming live right now on E360 TV, also on our YouTube channel, Laurie Davis Show Host, and our Facebook page, Self Worth the Missing Link Superstars. And I have a new superstar I want to introduce to you. Her name is Jeannie Rapstaad. I just met Jeannie on an online conference that we were on together. And I thought, wow, this woman is so impressive. And I'd love to have her on the show. So here we are. Jeannie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. Well, everybody's watching. My viewers, we're going to, the first thing they're going to wonder about is that beautiful hat you're wearing. So let's get the hat thing
Okay.
Out there because I think it's beautiful, a beautiful story. And I love hats too. So over to you, Jeannie. What is it with the hats?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll describe this particular one. This hat is a gambler, and it's called that because of this kind of a brim and the crown and everything.
Okay.
And it was made by the Bowman Hat Company, which is the oldest hat company in the United States. It was founded in 1868, about 3 years after the end of the Civil War in Pennsylvania. But how I began to become known in my area here in Northwest Indiana as the classy dame in the hat goes back to about 4.5 years ago, maybe 5. I went to a networking meeting of entrepreneurs, and I've developed a product, and so I wanted to hang out with these people. So I'm there, and no hat on. I was just my white hair. And this young man, I heard him say, "Who's the old broad?" And he was referring to me. I said, well, if this is how I'm coming across to people, then I need to change my look. So I decided to wear a hat. And I went to the next meeting, the next occasion, this, that, and the other thing, and everybody complimented me on my hat. So I started my collection, which is over 150 hats now, including winter hats and berets and caps and everything. And everywhere I go, I wear a hat. And I become sort of the main focus in the room when I walk in, because some of my hats are absolutely gorgeous. I have some from Eric Javits of New York. I have a beautiful Kentucky Derby one from Anna Wang of Maryland. I mean, I have some nice hats. But that was something that I thought was such a gift. This young man was rude. And I said to myself, pay attention, Jeannie, because he's being rude just because he doesn't know better. But he's telling you something. And so I'm grateful because I've started wearing hats and I haven't looked back.
Awesome. I think that's terrific. Well, my hair is getting a little bit thin up here. Well, it's been thin for quite a few years, just like right around my crown. And I'm always, putting stuff on it and filling it in. And I was thinking that the other day, I should just start wearing hats.
I think that's a wonderful idea because my hair is thinning too. I'm getting up there in years, and this is sort of something that's genetic in the women in my family line, is that we start losing our hair a little bit. But you put a hat on that and nobody knows the difference, and plus you look kind of cute.
Yeah. God. Well, before the show, Jeannie and I were having a very nice conversation about the fact that we are the same age, really. And I thought, you know what, Jeannie, we don't look it. I'm sorry, but here in the town where I live, every Wednesday is Seniors Day, and you get 10% off your grocery order. And a lot of times the younger cashiers, of course, they'll say, do you qualify for the seniors discount? This is like music to my ears, right? And at one time at a hotel, I had to actually produce my driver's license because he didn't believe me when I said I'd like the seniors discount on it.
Yeah, that's great. When I first started asking for the senior discount, I didn't want to admit that I was, and at this particular shop, you had to be 60. So we're going back a few years. But I didn't know if I wanted to admit to being 60 until I found out how much money I was going to save.
Uh-huh.
So I said, That's a little vanity there, right? But so I asked her, what is the senior discount? And then she was telling me that I was going to save $2.50 on my purchase if I was a senior. But, well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a senior yet, because I mean it has to be at least 5 before I'm able to
Right,
do that.
right.
Now I asked for my senior discount wherever I go. And would you
Mhm.
please give me the senior discount? And I mean, I like saving the money. Why not?
Yeah, because then you could buy another hat, right? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that because we did have some concerns, and I'd love to have that message get out there today because I've already had a preliminary chat this morning with some of my other senior business colleagues, and um, and I went to a wedding on the weekend, a family wedding. It was beautiful. It was a wonderful day. But how we get treated because people make assumptions about seniors.
Yes, yes.
So I don't know about you, but talk down to let me get you a chair. And I at the wedding I danced more than anybody at the wedding. So right. So have you had any of those experiences where well you had that young man make
Yes.
that comment about your white hair.
Well,
What do you think about that?
one of my pet peeves is that, and I know that they don't mean it in any way, but it's sort of irritating to me when I'm eating in a restaurant by myself and the wait staff is addressing me as sweetie. You want to sit down there, sweetie? Can I get
Oh,
you something to drink, sweetie? And it's like, no, I am not your sweetie. I am a vibrant woman who's lived a great life. Don't put me in the sweetie category. And I know that they don't mean it, but still, that's so condescending. And we
mhm.
have so much to offer. I was mentioning to you before the show started that I really feel like I have come into my own in my 70s. I really feel like the world is mine.
Yeah,
And
same here.
really, I'm in really great health, and I have a lot to be thankful for in that respect. But I feel more empowered and more confident than I have ever felt in my life. And I have, led a pretty interesting life. I've worked abroad in business in Japan, the Philippines. I've educated myself. I have had a wonderful experience. And now I just feel like it's the richest time of my life. I'm so creative. I never really thought that I could sit down and just create something. I've always written because I was a performer. I started doing stand up comedy in LA in the late 70s. And so, I started my humor writing back then. And then I became a long-time Toastmaster. So always writing speeches right here and there. But I'm telling you, I'm getting really, really creative and insightful. And this is just wonderful. I'm not losing the mental acuity, in other words. To me,
Right.
it's developing more and more. And sometimes it's kind of interesting. I think about, okay, now, Jeannie, you want to write a speech about this. Now let's get our thoughts together. And then I just go pray about it. And pretty soon I start making these notes, and it's coming from someplace from within. And I find that delightful and also astonishing at the same time.
I agree. And I'm in the same boat, different vehicles, but the same boat. I've created more in the last, in terms of workshop materials. Like I deliver workshops, but I create the curriculum.
Mhm.
And we've done more in the last year and a half than I did the first 29 years.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just flowing out of me. Uh, who would want to come to 100 workshops? The first one I created was 100 Shades of Entrepreneurship. And
Wow.
I did that because I was in a compilation book called Ignite the Entrepreneur here in Canada. 35 of us internationally wrote a chapter. And when I got my books, I went, oh my gosh, this is a textbook. And I created 100 workshops for entrepreneurs.
Wow.
I just pulled from everything. And I've already graduated my first group, and my second group, they're on workshop number 71 tomorrow.
That is absolutely fabulous.
Well,
I
you know what? Yeah, go ahead.
I have workshops at Purdue University Northwest Commercialization and Manufacturing Excellence Center. I've been doing some form of workshops associated with Purdue since 2019, and I really understand what you're talking about. How there's so much information that we can share, and but they benefit from it. My entrepreneurs absolutely love, first of all, the sense of associating with people who are entrepreneurs, because not everybody understands that lifestyle. Even your spouse, honey, why do you keep wasting money on this crazy idea of yours? You
Yeah,
know, we have a car, we got blah 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 blah. And so they have a safe place. That's what we have created over at Purdue, is
nice.
a safe place where you can come and talk about it. And then I spend a great deal of time researching what grants are available, what pitch competitions are coming up, and if there are any angel investors looking for investments. But I love that whole um, community of entrepreneurs, of being with creative people. I love
Yes,
it so much.
yes. Well, the way I looked at it, my background is education. I was a teacher, and I only lasted about 15 years, and I had to bail out and do my own thing. But I had my first business when I was 12. And even when I took time out for my education and then attending, being a teacher, I always had a business on the side. I was always doing something else.
Yes.
And so in 1984, I retired and I've been self employed ever since. But I felt so strongly about the fact that entrepreneurship is a profession.
Mhm.
And I couldn't find anything when I was starting out in my business to educate me on how to be a successful entrepreneur. There was no textbook, there was no paper that had ever been written on it. So I just created it. And so to me, it's really solid, rock solid curriculum, and based on personal experience, the mistakes I made. I did a lot of things wrong, but I did a lot of things right.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so now we have this wonderful curriculum, 100 Shades of Entrepreneurship.
I love
And
that. I absolutely love that.
mhm,
But I was a little bit more fortunate, because when I first started deciding to learn about entrepreneurship, Purdue had the 1 Million Cups, which is the Kauffman Foundation. Around, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but every Wednesday around the United States, people get together and over coffee, that's why they call it 1 Million Cups, they discuss their business product to other business people, other entrepreneurs. And so I started going to those meetings, and eventually I ended up presenting myself here in Northwest Indiana and Orlando and Metro Detroit and Minneapolis, St. Paul. I took my idea of the Speech Genie speech rehearsal computer platform there. But I had opportunities to study customer discovery through Purdue. I had small business classes. They gave us financial planning, all of those things that I'm sure you developed for your workshop. I had access to this last since 2019, and it's helped me a great deal. What I focus on mostly with the people that come to me is helping them, first of all, develop their pitch decks, because we're very focused on trying to participate in pitch competitions and win that money, but also to help them develop their speaking ability, because you see so many people don't have the ability to speak, and they sort of think that, well, just let me get my product developed first and then I'll learn how to speak. And I go, no,
no,
this is
no,
a simultaneous process.
absolutely.
Have to talk and develop at the same time. And so we have a nice little economic ecosystem here in Northwest Indiana that I'm very proud to be a part of. And I'm sure that's what you're developing with your workshop as well. And those people will never forget you, Laurie. They will always remember everything that you taught them and the safe place that you created in which to learn it. Because I know I have that.
Yes.
And people are paying it forward. Well, Jeannie said blah blah blah. Jeannie said,
Hmm.
and I appreciate that.
Right. Well, I have been working virtually since 2002. And so our workshops were very conducive to putting them online because we don't put more than 6 people in a workshop.
Yeah.
And so that creates that safe space that you're talking about for people to come to the table with whatever is going on for them that's getting in the way of them doing business. So there's the technical side, the hardcore side, but then there's the personal development side. And for me, that was missing. And I'll go back to an experience as a teacher, for example. Book salesmen would come to the school because we were going to look at buying this new spelling program. So they'd come for the day and teach us everything about the spelling program. And I know for a fact that a lot of those spelling programs were put in the back cupboard and the teacher just went back doing what she always did because the empowerment component was missing. There was nothing there to build the confidence or the safety to try something new and different. And you're not going to get a more conservative group than a group of educators. I, as a matter of fact, went back to visit my school 5 years after the fact. I was in the community and it was recess and I still had friends there. And I thought, I should just stop in and have coffee. And I went in. They were all sitting in the same chairs. They were all wearing the same old nubby sweaters. They had never put a coat of paint on that staff room since I left. They all had their same mugs because people resist change. Right?
Yeah.
You know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. We're just talking to our viewers today. But it was like, whoa. So, and I was one of them. And that's why I recognized it. I worked very hard at, getting rid of that image
Yeah.
that is associated with that. But I also realized after I left teaching, I was in marketing and sales. I was one of those pink Cadillac driving people with the Mary Kay organization here in Canada. Had 4 of them, actually. I was with the company for 12 years. And that was served me so well to then start my own business, my own corporation, right? But what I realized after probably 27 years of working with people, 3 things. One, this is how I built my workshops all around this. And then I want to ask you a question. Number 1, most people are walking around feeling like there's something wrong with them. Would you agree with that?
I think when it comes to speaking in the situation to promote their business, they definitely think that they have speaker and speech anxiety because we don't teach very much of this here in the States, which is a big complaint that I have. And so I get these people coming into my workshop that are very self-conscious. And you see, if they want to become a client of the Purdue CMEC organization and get all of the benefits, they have to give a 10-minute presentation. That is not optional.
No, that's right.
And so if they want to do well, then the next thing I know, they're coming to see me. And then I listen to them and I find out basically it's a lack of confidence. There's a fear. When I'll share this little story with because it's so typical. When I finally got my master's degree and I was offered a job teaching at Purdue, COM 114, which is the fundamentals of speech communication. It's required by the state of Indiana in every single college and university in the state. Students have to take this one class and they have to pass it with a C. This is the law. So the very first day that I'm teaching this class, I had no idea really what this was going to be like. And they're all freshmen, first semester freshmen. And so I went through the syllabus with them and I talked about the 5 projects that we were going to do in this class. And each one, of course, is harder than the other one. And when this was over, the discussion of the syllabus, I looked them and I said, are there any questions? And this young man looked me right in the eyes and he said, this is a stupid class. I don't understand why I have to take this stupid class. Well, I realized immediately he's speaking to me from a place of fear.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already been told this is a required class. Why would he antagonize his instructor if he wasn't just scared to death? So I asked him what he planned to do with his life once he graduated. And he said, well, I want to be a businessman. I want to run my own business. I want to sell and service motorcycles. So then I said to him, well, as the business owner, you're the boss. You will be the voice of your business. If not you, then who? So that is one major reason why you need to learn how to speak, because you're going to be talking to your customers, your suppliers, your bankers, everybody that you do business with, and you need to be able to articulate your needs to these people. So he calmed down a little bit, and at the end of the semester, I got this really, really charming email from him thanking me for all of my patience in helping him. And he said, well, I may never enjoy public speaking. At least I know I can do it.
Great. But not only just in the area, well, that was my number 3, communication. You know, most people are what I just said I came home and I just wrote it down. I said, this is what I've encountered, whether it was my little 5-year-old kindergarten or somebody in business or another professional. Most people are walking around feeling like there's something wrong with them. Mm-hmm. They're not thin enough. They're not rich enough. They're not pretty enough. They're not good enough. Number 2, lacking confidence. You already mentioned it. Yeah. And confidence is about taking a risk. It's not the same thing as your self-worth. That's my whole gig.
Yeah.
Stick.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, poor communication skills.
See, here in the United States, we have a situation where we are not training our youth for the job market that requires effective communication skills. This is across the board. Industry says that they want effective communication skills from the people that they hire, because they are going to teach you how to make and market their widgets. They want to know, can you speak to your coworkers? Can you speak to your supervisor? Can you speak to the client? They want to know that you have these kinds of skills. So I started really, that's how I developed the speech genie rehearsal methodology. We'll go into that in a while, I'm sure. But then when I started teaching at university, I found out that most people only have that one speech class, COM 114, in a 4-year curriculum. Then we send them out into the world and they're expected to know how to communicate. 77% of the American workers confess to having speech anxiety. Now, because of COVID, we have all of these meetings online. So these poor people cannot hide in the back of the room anymore. They're right there on the photo display, the array, where they're right there. And so we can all see how uncomfortable they are, and that they don't have confidence. And so I address these. And of course, now with pitch competitions in the United States, they don't want a paper application anymore. FACSIS, is create that 1 minute, 2 minute video with your application and send it off. So we spend a lot of time creating videos in my workshop, from the first elevator speech to the 2 minute application speech to the 6 minute presentation speech, because each one of them contains more content. And I have to say that comes from just doing and practicing and having somebody give you some tips, because sometimes we can't just go to our favorite aunt or uncle or grandma and say, how was my speech? Oh, you're just wonderful, honey.
Yeah.
We need somebody that's going to actually assess and help.
Well, all we have to do is watch news anchors right now and weather people. They do not know how to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
It's, let me see. I think it's going to be 92 today down in Los Angeles. And then over in Yucaipa, it's going to be, I think maybe, that it's not looking too good. Like, really? I'm like sitting there losing my mind.
And here's the worst part that drives me crazy, Laurie, is they drop the G in the gerunds. Well, it's raining and it's snowing and we're going to go. And I know. Geez, this is too folksy. You are on the national news. What is your problem? And so when I'm working with people, I tell them, nope, we will not deliver a folksy pitch. We will pronounce the G's.
Right.
We will. And they need people to tell that. And then my other favorite is wanna, gonna, gotta, I'm a, yeah. I'm telling ya.
You could do a whole stand up on that. You know that, right?
You're not going to be telling ya in my class.
No.
We won't be doing that in my workshop or in when I was teaching at the university. I get a little bit of a hostility from the students. Well, why are you being so strict? And I said, this is an institution of higher learning.
Right.
You are not going to graduate from here if I have anything to do with it, saying gonna, gotta, wanna, ya. You are going to learn how to pronounce your language.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it drives me crazy.
Well,
So those are the three things, people walking around, not feeling good enough, not feeling good about who they are. Number two, lacking confidence, not able to take risks. And number three, poor communication skills.
yeah.
So I decided I was going to do something about that. And that was the groundwork 32 years ago for my business, for like my company. And everything we do, and it doesn't matter who the client is, they all have challenges in all of those areas. So we've had, single moms on welfare to people with their PhD and not to make a connective comparison there, but it's just,
Yeah.
I know, that's why I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about.
Actually, this is really phenomenal that you started 32 years ago. I got more involved in this really since I started coaching my private clients and then started teaching at university. I really was not aware of how many people had this lack of confidence in being able to communicate to other people. And when I started doing my research for the Speech Genie methodology that I developed, I learned a lot about my country. And this is one of the things that surprised me. And that is that there are 12 states in the United States where over half of their students belong to a rural school district. And the definition of a rural school district in the United States is a district that has 494 students or less in the district. This is not the school. This is just.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about states like Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Mississippi, Alabama, New Hampshire, Vermont, where students are just, all over the place. They're going to school on school buses. You think the chances of them having a qualified speech teacher in their school?
Mm-mm.
Not a chance, not a chance. And then we have another situation because a lot of parents are not happy with the direction of this education is taking in the United States. And I'm not going to open a can of worms here. I'm just stating that
Yes.
we have now over 2.5 million high school students that are being homeschooled. So if we are lucky enough to be born into a family that has a speaker for a mother or father, maybe we get a little bit of training. But I would venture to say that most of those 2.5 million high schoolers are not getting any speech training in their at-home curriculum. And then we have another situation here where the students who attend the schools that are run by the Bureau of Indian Affairs or Native American schools, we have a graduation rate of 65%. So the chances of them having a specialty teacher teaching them how to communicate, slim and none. And I began to start becoming very concerned about this because we already have this really high statistic of people that have speaker anxiety. And what are we doing about it? We should be teaching communication skills in middle school, at least middle school, and definitely in high school. And when I started doing my research with prospective clients of my Speech Genie program, I talked to high school kids And they said, yes, we do have one speech, and it's being taught by the social studies teacher, and she's not a good speaker. So they may have the opportunity to have a project, and I'm sure the social studies teacher did her best effort, but probably doesn't have much training herself. And so this is the situation that I'm trying to rectify. I would like everybody to have the opportunity to develop effective communication skills so they can get good jobs, have a nice career that satisfies them, that puts them on a trajectory to improve their salary and their interests throughout their life. We have people that get passed over for promotion time after time because they cannot effectively communicate with their coworkers or their supervisors. And don't let them get near the customer, because then we have a real problem. Now, is that fair? I mean, no, I think that there should be some action is taken. That should be part of your job description, is that periodically you have to take a little bit of a training class so that you can raise yourself up within the corporation. There should be no dead wood. Everybody should have an opportunity to learn and grow, because then they're happy. And happy workers, we know, make the best workers.
Absolutely. Well, I'm working on another project with a colleague of mine in California, and we did the 100 Shades thing started to take off. So it was 100 Shades of Entrepreneurship. And then I thought, I could do 100 Shades of Leadership too. I have the materials. I mean, I have all the content. It's all sitting here. So I've got it, but packaging it differently. And then we did 100 Shades of, I want to do 100 Shades of Recovery, because I'm going to host these recovery summits that I spoke to you about. And so my colleague and I, he has every credential that you can possibly get in the financial world. Okay. And 2 MBA degrees. So he and I have partnered up, and we're doing 100 Shades of Prosperity.
Oh.
Because health plus wealth equals happiness.
Yes.
And our young people need to know how to do exactly what you're saying. We're not giving them. I have a student right now, a 13-year-old boy. He's been in school for 8 years. And I said to him, his mom was a client of mine. His parents came to me years ago. Now they have children. She sent him to me. I said, what would you like to learn first? Well, he said, the first thing I'd like to do is know how to sign my name.
Oh.
Yeah, because here in Canada, can you believe this? Cursive writing has been removed from the curriculum. They don't have to learn how to do cursive writing. And now it's a challenge. To be able to write cursively is a challenge now. Are you nuts?
What are they supposed to put in X? I mean,
Well,
really, seriously?
yeah, I guess we're dumbing them down. So I agree with you. I'm very big on that. And a lot of times, though, when you've had lots of trauma as a child or whatever, you actually lose your voice for emotional reasons, not skill-based reasons, right?
Yes.
And so that has to be revived. And then with all of the texting and communicating via social media, etc., our young people don't think they have to have a voice, because they can just text it.
Yeah.
And break up the relationship in a text.
Yes. This is something that know better have to stop, because you and I are at this golden age of knowledge, and we have a voice, and we need to stop this. I speak about it too, and I did when I was teaching at university, when they would send me these cute little typed up things with different fonts, and instead of capital I, it's now a small I, and I reminded them, this is an institution of higher learning. You may be able to get away with this with somebody else, but not in my class, not here. And I think they were grateful to me.
Oh, definitely.
Get a grumble here and there. Oh, you're so strict. No. The fundamentals of being an articulate person that can write and that can speak, this is, to me, the basics but it's not. Most of the world, it's something special. Yeah.
This is a friend of mine, Sylvia Somerville. She's watching this right now, and she put this comment up. She's been writing for 70 years. She's my house guest right now.
Oh,
And so she's here because we're actually hosting some writers' retreats. And I brought her in because of her credibility and everything. And so she's enjoying us today. Excellent point. There are so many issues in education and business that should be addressed and changed regarding communication and problem solving.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sylvia. Yes, for sure. Wow. Well, let's look at a couple relationship. What's the number one cause of a conflict or breakup? Well, it's communication. I
Mhm.
work with couples all the time, and whatever the situation that they think it is, well, it's either bad habits or they think it's all of that. But when it comes down to it, it's communication.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't know how to sit down and communicate the hard stuff
Yeah.
to get a solution.
And to communicate in a way that is helpful, because there is
Yes.
no point in communicating your anger if that's all you've got. There should be some thought behind this. Do I really want to have conflict resolution here, or do I just want to vent?
Right.
Yeah. What is the goal here, the end goal here? And so those are all the things I'm sure you discuss with the couples, because I was married before too, and my husband was former husband was a lot bigger than I was, and he always felt if he was louder he was right.
Right.
He didn't realize it. Once those decibels started going up, I tuned him like, not doing this. Thank you too
No.
much. No, I'm not doing this.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your product, Jeannie. What
Yeah,
is
my
it?
speech genie product is something that I'm really proud of, and there is a kind of a story here that is still
Yes.
unfolding. When I started working with people, and especially this one particular lady hired me, and we were working one-on-one, and this is before COVID, so she was coming to my house to work with me. And so we had a session, and I gave her some notes, and I said to her, okay, now go over what we discussed today and come back next week and let's see where you are. Just rehearse what we said. She's beginning to look like, what? Then she said, well, I don't know how to rehearse. And I thought, well, this is interesting. And then when I at the simultaneously teaching my students, and then I discovered rehearse. I can barely get this thing out. I don't know what you're talking about. So I began to spend more time on the curriculum within the university, of course, on vocal variety and facial expressions, eye contact, body movement, all of the things that were in the textbook. But in speechcraft exercises that I wrote and that we would do at the beginning of each class before we started the work. And they were hugely successful because you see 5 projects, but by the time my students got to their first project, they had already been in front of their classmates 3 times doing a speechcraft exercise, and sometimes 4 if it was a small class. So some of that initial fear of, oh, gee, I'm going to be in front of this strange group of people and I'm going to have to make myself vulnerable and I'm all nervous. And what. So that went away before their first project for grading. And so naturally, I kept this up all throughout my teaching there, is that we would always have the speechcraft exercises. I began to start using those also with my private clients, and especially when we went to all virtual, because now I only teach online. But I get people that are adults and maybe successful in their business choice or professional choice, still feeling that they need more fluidity and confidence when they're speaking to people, especially clients. So I break out the speechcraft exercises and we work through those. And then I see them beginning to feel more confident, because I'll tell them, well, why don't you try saying it this way? Why don't you put the emphasis here? Why don't we put a pause here? Let's see how that feels. So basically, they are vocal variety exercises that I teach to help people when they start rehearsing to make those kinds of delivery choices. Eventually, I put together this program, which is speech rehearsal methodology. It's a website, a learning platform, and it has a very it was not, this path was not paved. It's still, in fact, I'm still, going through this veil of tears sometimes. But anyway, it was built by Purdue University students, senior students. And so I met with my little team and I told them, this is going to be symbol based. So we'll have an editing bay. People will type in or cut and paste in their speech. And then they will insert cue marker symbols into their rehearsal script, and they will be reminders to them of this delivery choice that they've made. So as they rehearse, the two of them become seamless part. So this has been something that, I got the product delivered. There needed to be some tweaking, and I began to go from one web designer to another. And I'm going to say something now, and anybody who's really sensitive in their ears, cover yourself right now. Okay. I have discovered that many of these web designers are the used car salesmen of the cyber world. You can't get a straight answer out of these people. Okay.
I concur. I concur.
Cover your ears. Now we can go back to normal. But I have experiences where, I would be talking to somebody. I need this fine-tuned and finished because I want to launch and I want to do this. And so I said, well, can you please give me a quote? I want to know how much this is going to cost. Well, how much do you want to spend? You got white hair? You got a 401k? How much is that worth? I'm going like, run. This person is not helping me. And I have gone to various people, and I know this sounds terrible, but this is my experience. This is my experience where, once again, I'm disrespected because I'm an old lady. Oh, she doesn't know any. And the fact of the matter is, I admit, I am not a web designer. I don't know a single thing about coding. All I know is that I want it to do this. How much is it going to cost to get that? And so what has ended up happening over time is that I actually got it finished. It's working. And I just have a few little things that I want to do before I launch it to the world. And I have somebody trialing it right now to make sure that it's as easy to use as I think it is. And so then what I plan to do is to take my little show on the road, go to libraries, invite school principals here. I'm going to demonstrate the Speech Jeannie rehearsal methodology. And let's see if it flies, because all of those people that I discussed before that didn't have an education in effective communication when they were in school, whether high school or college or university, or who are in middle school now, who are in high school for one reason or another, don't have training, they have access to the website. I've already created 8 short teaching videos. Those are on my YouTube channel. Anybody that would like to get that teaching, just go. It's free. You can use it now. Recently, I did 2 training sessions for International Internship University out of India, and English, of course. And that is, the first class is developing content and delivery. The second class is delivery choices. Those are available on my Facebook pages, which is Jeannie Rapstaad or Jeannie Rapstaad, comedian Jeannie Rapstaad, or Speech Jeannie. So those 2 videos are available. Just go to my website and you can access them free. And so you can hopefully look forward to more content from me once I get a few little bugs worked out here too. And I'm just going to send this message out to the universe. If you are a web designer who would like to have a partnership with somebody like me, and you have something to bring to the table, send me an email and let's see if we can talk. Because I think that this is a wonderful idea. And every time I get discouraged and I go, this is so much of a hassle and blah, blah, blah. my friends go, no, Jeannie, you can't give up. You can't give up. And then I go to them, well, if all of you chipped in 10,000, I wouldn't have any problem. Okay, that was probably a little joke.
Doesn't have to be. It can be real.
Yeah, that could be real. But the fact of the matter is I am about this far away from doing crowdfunding.
Oh, good.
Because I would like to actually have this available to anybody who wants it, because the feedback I get is, oh, Jeannie, that would really help me. And then iteration number 2 of that would be that the people could send me, or somebody that I hire, their video so that I could, give some feedback. Because, there are a lot of Toastmasters in this country and around the world that are very good at doing evaluations, because this is part of the Toastmasters program, speech and evaluations. So if this really took off and I needed other people to help me with evaluations, I'm sure that I could contract some people to be a part of it too. We really have to help people who want to be helped. We can't just keep forgetting them, thinking, well, they'll somehow muddle through. Because if there are some young people or even adult people now that didn't have the training they wish they had, that are listening to us speak, they're saying to themselves, gee, I wish that I could learn that. I could benefit from that. Maybe they're just mid-career, but they have their sights set on advancing, and they know that they have a deficit in effective communication skills. And they could take a program like this so that they could advance. I want everybody to be happy, to make a good living in an occupation that they're enjoying, because that makes life rich.
Absolutely. We're on the same page, my friend. Absolutely. And we know for a fact that health and wealth comes with that. Comes with being able to communicate, asking for support, seeking out the right credible people to guide me. All these things that you're talking about, Jeannie, I'm there 1,000%. Because one of my big beefs is, you talked about the web designers. My big beef is that people can go for a weekend and spend $49 and become a life coach. Okay? I have a real challenge with this.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I've seen it. I've seen it advertised.
Yes.
Become a life coach next weekend. And I'm thinking, where is the credibility in that?
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been very strict too. I ran a hard ship when I was teaching, and I do in my business. And we have products, programs, and services for adults, youth, and young children. I even authored a parenting program based on what I know about kids and what I know about self-esteem, but I've never physically been a parent. And you know what? I don't facilitate that workshop.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the credibility. I don't know what it's like to have a little person around your ankle 24 hours a day, maybe for 40 years, before they leave home now. So, right?
Yeah, you can't get rid of them now.
No, because we've made it too good for them to stay home. But yeah, so the credibility is big for me. I'm even when I go to have like a massage or a personal self-care thing, that person better be healthy, because I'm really seeing the effects of unhealthy people trying to help unhealthy people.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't work.
I had a situation in my own coaching of entrepreneurs where somebody came to me and wanted to set up a shingle of life coach. And so since she was pretty young, I inquired as to what her background was, that she felt that, because I pointed out to her, people hire you because of the successes that you've had in your life. I won many speech competitions. People started asking me to coach them. If I never won a single thing, do you think anybody would be asking me to coach them? No. I did pitch coaching to entrepreneurs who went and won $20,000, $80,000, $17,000. That's why they asked me to be their coach. if nobody that I ever taught ever did a single thing, would anybody be hiring me? No. So
No.
I tried to explain this to this young, lovely soul. What have you done that qualifies you? Because people are going to ask. Well, I took a class in college on psychology.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah. I know. And, if you want to facilitate my workshops, there's protocol attached to the training, and they work with me for a year, 2 years, learning the ropes and how to have a good business and how to turn this into a business. I'm going like, no, I
Yeah.
don't think so. Be
And,
careful.
and plus the fact, too, that we want people who have the expertise and depth of knowledge that they're not going to do any harm to
Right.
anybody that comes to them.
Right.
This is sort of like what is that? The physician's credo: do no harm. Uh,
Yeah.
we can't have people going to unqualified people getting advice that could make their situation worse.
Exactly.
They came there for. So, let's just put it this way: I didn't encourage this so much at this particular point in time. I encouraged her, to develop her bona fides with training and because people, as I said, word of mouth got around about me. Oh, Jeannie's won this, she's won that. Here, go ask her, she'll train you. And then it was okay, fine. But if I had never ever won one contest, do you think anybody would have asked me? Probably not.
No.
Probably would not have.
Mm-mm.
If I
Yeah.
didn't have an education, do you think anybody come up to me and say, well, we want you to teach over here at this university? Just come as you are. We don't care if you got any education or
Yeah.
not.
Right. Right.
Just show up.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, success breeds success.
Yes.
And so our workshops have been running since 1992.
Wow. That is commendable.
We have not changed one in our initial product. I created 10 workshops. We still use that same curriculum today. And as a matter of fact, it's more needed today than it was 32 years ago.
Oh,
If you can imagine, right?
no,
Per-
you are right. You are right. Because I'm going to say this now, and I don't mean to step on anybody's toes who's now teaching, because I know there's lots of challenges. But I do know that when I was in school, I learned how to put together an outline. My students have never put together an outline for a speech or any other paper. They don't
Wow.
know how to organize their thoughts. They are not taught one single thing about time management. And so they come into university and they don't know how to manage their time. This is just a free for all. They still expect that if they don't feel like going to school, that mama can call the office and say, well, Johnny can't come in today because he's not feeling well. Well, I'm sorry about that. Says in the syllabus, the paper is due today by 5 p.m.
Right.
We have to do that because we have to make them accountable. We have
That's right.
to make them own their deadlines. Tells
Yes.
in the syllabus, you have 3 weeks to prepare this paper and turn it in by 5 p.m. So we don't want to hear on the day of that you got the sniffles. These are
Exactly. Jeez. Well, we've raised a whole generation of kids, not every kid, I'm speaking generally, that are irresponsible,
Mhm.
not accountable, don't have to own any of their mistakes.
Yes, yes.
Parents are busy hovering, hoping they don't make any mistakes because it looks bad.
Mhm. No, yes, you are right.
And
You,
I mean, I left in 1984 and that stuff was going on then.
yeah, yeah. I know this is the reason why I feel so passionately about speech, Jeannie, and about the work that I'm doing in the international presentations, like the one you and I were together on, is that I love hearing what people from around the world, their thoughts on the matter. Are those problems there, or is it just unique to us? And it sounds to me like these problems are pretty unique.
Universal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Jeannie, our time is up. Can you believe it? It's the fastest hour of my day when
This
I do
this
the
has
show.
been so much fun. I loved it.
Great. I'm so happy. And I'm so grateful that you are here and we're with you and you are on the right track and you just keep doing it because I started with 10 workshops and I now have over 1,000
Oh my gosh.
that I've created.
Wow. Wow.
And the way that we do things, the way we facilitate and present our materials. So thank you so much for everything that you said. I just was connecting, and the light bulbs were going on, bing, bing, bing. And love to have you back on the show another time because there are so many other things that we could talk about.
Thank you. And before we go, can I get a nice screenshot with us smiling?
Absolutely. Wait till I get rid of that ticker down there. Just a second.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2. Okie dokie. We should have a good one. I'll email it to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, wait, what happened? Oh, for a minute I thought I lost you. Okay.
Oh, no. Thank you. I appreciate that. And we'll be back tomorrow, the same time, same station. On Tuesdays, I meet with my co host, Mr. Ramin Modiri, and he is our financial guru who is involved in our projects. So every Tuesday, he gives out financial tips and so on. So investing, trading, building your wealth, it's all around that. So we'll see you tomorrow, everybody, at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Bye for now and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.